half the greatness. What got me onto talking about film? I was thinking recently, what film was it that got me started in terms of looking at film in a more analytical level, in terms of dissecting and understanding the mechanics of how film works, the layering of context and subtext, and understanding film through use of mise-en-scène and all kinds of different stuff, all the technical stuff that makes a film work, and that reinforces the aspects of the film through its context of narrative, like how Chekhov's gun kind of deal, where something could be set up here and get brought back later down the track, or how a scene may use mise-en-scène to reinforce the themes of a film, or reinforce the character choices, or the demonstration of where the character is up to in their period of time. The film I'm talking about in particular here is American Beauty. In year 11 of my high school years, this was my second last year of high school, we finished in year 12 in Australia, same. My media class, which is this is the first time I ever had done media. No, was it? Yeah, sure, why not? I don't think I did it for 3 years in a row. Yeah, so we did a thing every year where we would analyze 2 films back to back. This would be part of an exam and stuff. I remember the second year having The Shining, and some other film that I still cannot remember. I even had to ask my friend a while ago, hey, what was that other film that we studied in high school? Not The Shining, not A Single Man, and not American Beauty, because I'm pretty sure American Beauty and A Single Man were the same year. The Shining was back-to-back with something else. Not memorable enough for me to remember. And because I knew The Shining so well, I didn't really need to study the other film. And so my first film that I really properly studied, that we actually studied first, so we had A Single Man and American Beauty in the first year, so we started with American Beauty. And I'd seen this film before. When I was a kid, we had a year where my parents were like, hey, we want to show you some films of Kevin Spacey. These being American Beauty 7, I believe was one of them. And I think there was Usual Suspects. 3 really good films. And so, of course, when we came to rewatching American Beauty for class, I wasn't, of course, surprised by watching it because I had already seen it before. But I still liked it. I think it's a very entertaining film. I think it's very watchable as well. And so the aim was to dissect and understand the film in a theoretical level. Analysing, again, the mise-en-scène, that was very key, mostly because it's French and it's fun to say, and so it's very memorable as a thing, especially when you get to the exam and they're like, oh, talk about the mise-en-scène of a particular scene. You're like, hey, I know what mise-en-scène is. I have the perfect scene. I remember one scene in particular where the main character, played by, of course, Kevin Spacey, he's at home and he's quit his job and he's just playing with toys because he doesn't care anymore. We had one shot that we would analyse, and it was him, and it was Kevin Spacey and Annette Bening, and playing husband and wife in the film. And she's arguing with him about this and that. And he's just sitting there playing with his toys. This is obviously reinforcing the fact that by this stage in the film, he is a character, he doesn't care anymore. He's doing what he wants to do. He's spending his money on toys and figurines and shit, and he's having fun, And while that's happening, so this is reinforced by obviously all the toys and the stuff that is there, we also have the power dynamic. He's there sloping down on his chair, whereas, obviously in that kind of either unemployed manner or, I'm at home relaxing, I can do whatever I want, showing the complete character that is portrayed here. He's relaxed, he doesn't care. He's doing what he wants. Versus Annette Bening's character, who's still in her work clothes, standing up straight, very angry, and attempting to be controlling over his life, which is very much what she is as a character. Not always in the controlling aspect, but she tries to control her workplace and tries to attempt that into her home place as well. So this, of course, posture has reinforced her character dynamic throughout the film by this stage, before her breakdown. And so there's also one key aspect that is really relevant throughout the film. This is the thematic relevance that you can see through the mise-en-scène, of course, by the use of colour. The really important thing about the theme of a film is the American dream. You got your white picket fences, you got your red ass roses, and you got your blue other stuff, usually a door or something like that. This, of course, emphasizes the red, white, and blue American dream stuff, and they, of course, have this again in this shot. I can't remember exactly which ones are red or white or blue, but maybe it's an article of clothing, maybe it's the color or shade of the couch, or it's a toy or something like that, but there's always something in the frame that usually indicates the red, white, and blue symbolism. And of course, this is all just dissected from mise-en-scène. And of course, I know all this shit from memory, even though I haven't watched the film for over a year and I haven't done an exam on this film for 4 years now, 3 or 4 years now. So yeah, guess that makes it memorable. Unlike the second film we studied in year 12. I don't know what the hell it was. I still don't remember. Maybe I can find it. Either way. And so this is, of course, how I learnt film analysis through school. And of course, this has been, added to with year 12 media studies and further, tertiary education. My whole uni course is media and communications. My major is film studies. So it doesn't surprise me that I know all this stuff. Now I gotta find, it's gonna be tricky to find because it's probably pretty far down. Oh, dead calm, of course. The heavy breathing. That's what it was. I remember that now. Great film. Yet I always forget that we studied it in class because it's just like, I utilized none of the scenes from it except for the heavy breathing. So that's how you make a soundtrack, boys. You gotta use a heavy breathing. Fun film. But yeah, so these were the first 4 films I ever really analysed in school. But this is well before I did a video essay. I didn't do a video essay until my first year of uni, where I talked about David Lynch as a director, and that was a topic of, is this director a well, it doesn't exactly have to be a director, but I chose to specifically talk about a director. Was it an auteur director, or utilized, genre as a manipulative technique, manipulated genres to combine into one film? And that was my argument in that video essay, was David Lynch, is David Lynch an auteur or a genre manipulator? Personally, I believe I went with auteur, but at the same time I reutilize the aspects of his films do reincorporate the kind of genre mash, which, to be fair, most films do that anyway, so you don't have to be an auteur director to be like, I'm gonna mash some monsters, and by monsters I mean genres, because they're all monsters. And they did the mash. They did the genre mash. And so, yeah, that's just kind of the fun that I've had with learning film. And I think that's why, of course, film has become so much more of a passion. If it's not obvious by the shelf behind me that I love film, I don't know why people think I don't love film. My brothers think I don't love film. They're like, you must hate film because I always critique it. It's like, just because I critique film does not mean I don't love it. What is it that they have in court cases, figure 1 or whatever, like the first thing that I'm going to display for evidence, this fucking thing, over 1,500 films, including the DVDs, but not all of them mine, of course. Check out my Blu-ray collection, I did, on all these. I swear to God, if I did a DVD collection, no one would really care, because Blu-ray's a better format. I mean, it is, but it's like... But yeah, so, and that's why I find it rather fun. I don't really know what else really there is to talk about, but American Beauty is a film, and much like most other films, have layering they use subtext and context you can read into so many distinct aspects. There's, of course, camera angles and positioning as well. Like, you also have that aspect of mostly mise-en-scène, because let's be honest, mise-en-scène is the greatest fucking thing in the world. There were particular shots where, you know, someone would be smaller in the background and then everyone else would be bigger in the foreground, kind of showing how little amount of power that person in the distance has. The best use of that would probably be from Citizen Kane, when you have Kane as a kid. You know, he's not just outside, but he's outside, and then you got the window which frames him, and then you've got the window, like another frame, which is like the kind of interior walls, and then you've got the actual, like, his parents talking right in front of the camera, but you can still see all the way through. It's good framing right there. That's what I like. I like doing that. It's what's so fun about watching films, is that, you know, of course, I'm allowed to just watch films and enjoy them for the basic aspect of that they are entertainment, or they are art, and I can appreciate them for being art. But then there's also just that aspect of, I can look through a film and, like, analyze it for use of color, for use of performance, for use of direction, for use of production design and set design. Crimson Peak. Crimson Peak? That's what it's called, right? Crimson Peak, that's a good version, that's a good thing to look at in terms of costume design and, like, just how it uses its costumes and its, like, decor and stuff to reutilize, like, re-emphasize what fucking genre it is. And it's just amazing in that regard, like, the amount of detail that some films will go through to do that. And, I mean, look, even American Beauty, which is simply just a kind of American day life kind of story, still does that. And I like that. It's nice. So, in that regard of where did I get my knowledge from analyzing film, from high school and American Beauty. So, of course, whenever I rewatch American Beauty, I'm like, I remember analyzing this film in high school. And it doesn't annoy me, because I remember two people. Pierre, my friend, who has edited some of my videos in the past, he doesn't like to watch or even talk about 500 Days of Summer, because he had to analyze it in high school and they had to rewatch it over and over and over. And the thing is, if you don't like the film that you're watching, holy cravings and ballsacks, you do not like rewatching that film, and you do not like even mentioning it. Like, out of the 4 films that we watched for high school, American Beauty, A Single Man, The Shining, and Dead Calm, even though I keep forgetting the fact that we actually watched Dead Calm, I love The Shining, so there's no way in hell I'm going to be angry at rewatching that film again and again and again and again and again. Same goes for American Beauty, of course. A Single Man is the only one of the films that I don't care much for. I didn't care much for originally watching it. I don't care much for rewatching it. It doesn't annoy me, it doesn't piss me off. I don't luckily have that negative aspect towards it, because I utilize it not as a film to watch for entertainment purposes, because I got not much entertainment out of, but as a film to analyze in terms of thematics and, you know, mise-en-scène and character and yada yada yada. It's still pretty good. I mean, like most films, it's still pretty good. Sam, our brother, had to study Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and he doesn't like the film because of it. Because he had to watch it so many times. I'm like, how could you not just love it? But I think it's also the kind of thing of some films have such a overdose in a particular aspect. Like, if you're looking for, say, like Scott Pilgrim with, like, mise-en-scène in a particular scene, there's so much to note about so many scenes in terms of references to video games, references to characters and structures and all this kind of stuff, that it could probably make your head explode. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've got to say on this topic, I think. I think this is a nice, tight video about it. I hope this has interested you in some regard, because it is, at least in my mind, an interesting topic, you know, because I don't think you could just look at a film and bullshit stuff about it. I'm not CinemaSins. I'm just someone who likes to look at films and enjoy them most of the time. Sometimes I might be like, you will now be analysed to the nth degree, or at least to some degree. You know, it doesn't always have to be a smart analysis. It can just be a, you know, it's the best ones that are just a complete fart. Anyway, this has been fun. If you want to watch any of my video essays, there'll be a playlist up here somewhere. Also, you can subscribe if you liked this video, if you're not subscribed already. I don't just talk about my past lives I talk about my future lives as well. Haha. I don't know what that means, but just let me be myself. Anyway, yeah, outside of that, thanks for watching. If you have a film that, maybe if you're a film student and there was a particular film that you remember being that first film that you actually ever analysed, then yeah, put that in the comments. I'd like to know. That's an interesting thing. Maybe even a reason why, like what class it was for. Obviously, it was for fucking film or media studies, but like, what was the reason why you're studying it or whatever. If you have a film that you would like me to watch to maybe analyze, then hit me up, dude. I like making videos, I like talking films, and I can now burn Blu-rays onto my computer. Yeah, boy. Buddy. Bye. Why did I say buddy? I meant to say bye. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. I'm leaving now.